If your concept of a creator is someone who's all powerful and all good, all powerful and all good, and I look at disasters that afflict Earth, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, disease, you look at this list of ways that life is made miserable, and I just ask, how do you deal with that? So philosophers rose up and said, if there is a God, God is either not all powerful or not all good.
If there is a God, why is there so much suffering in the world?
Why did God create war? Why does God create murder? Why does God create all the horrific things we see in the news, school shootings? Why would God create a mind that acts in that way?
The problem of pain. You probably asked this question before too, little turkey. Just like our friend Neil and Joe and everyone. If God were good, he would wish to make his creatures perfectly happy. And if God were almighty, he would be able to do what he wished. But the creatures are not happy. Therefore, God either lacks goodness, power, or both. This is the problem of pain in its simplest form. Not many years ago, when I was an atheist, if anyone had asked me, why do you not believe in God? My reply would have run something like this. Look at the McUniverse we live in. By far the greatest part of it consists of empty space, completely dark and unmanageably cold.
I'm cold.
The most complex of all the creatures, mad, yet another quality appears, which we call reason, whereby he is enabled to foresee his own pain, which henceforth is preceded with acute mental suffering, and to foresee his own death while keenly desiring permanence.
Obviously.
If you ask me to believe that this is the work of a benevolent and omnipotent spirit,
No! It was pain!
I replied that the evidence points in the opposite direction. Either there is no spirit behind the universe, or else a spirit indifferent to good and evil.
What's up?
Or else an evil spirit. There was one question which I never dreamed of raising. I never noticed that the very strength and facility of the pessimist's case at once poses us a problem. If the universe is so bad, or even half so bad, how on earth did human beings ever come to attribute it to the activity of a wise and good creator? Men are fools perhaps, but hardly so foolish as that. Lewis writes that it may be one of the most single greatest miracles of God, that he created beings that were not himself, that were capable of resisting him. Lewis came upon the conclusion that the problem of pain is created by the belief in God. Reflecting back to what we heard from our friends Neil deGrasse Tyson and Joe, there is no supposed contradiction in the existence of pain from the atheistic or even agnostic perspective. So what is pain? Pain is the result of a fall. Pain was installed by God because of the fall.
And you failed.
After all, the serpent didn't use pain to manipulate Eve. Pain came afterward from God. Man was created to be in service, submission, praise, and relationship with God. But man elected that he might be God when he committed the sin of pride and decided to exist for himself. Pain must then be corrective. If we've left the castle walls of God's love, like Gru in Despicable Me, and we're trying to break back into Vector's palace, which is like heaven or something, then the returning to him is painful, as seen here with Gru getting smashed, bro. Yeah, and if a bone is like broken or dislocated, observe Kobe, it is the correction of snapping that bone back into place that delivers pain and thus restores us. Kobe being us in this example, and Kobe's coach being God.
No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't do it myself. Then he came towards me. It sort of hurt, but it was a good pain. You know, like when you pull a thorn from your foot.
C.S. Lewis writes a parallel to this in The Great Divorce. In this fictitious story, there's a man in hell who's visited by an angel from heaven. The man tells the angel that he feels he deserves to be in heaven instead of him. But the angel's like, yeah, I could take you to heaven, but...
The process does also break every bone in your body.
The man responds that he doesn't want to be killed.
Please don't hurt me.
The angel tells him that it will not kill him per se, but it will be more painful than anything he's ever experienced. There was no mention of God sending these people to hell because of their actions. The citizenry of hell were there because they did not want to do what it takes to go to heaven. Pain is intentional. It was made by God. A short excerpt from the words of Jesus nearly entirely encapsulate this philosophical journey that Lewis takes you on in The Problem of Pain. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. If we want to follow God, we must first deny ourselves. Unlike the man in hell in the Great Divorce, Jesus tells us that our first step is admitting our own insufficiency.
You suck!
Step 2 is to take up your cross. Jesus says this before being crucified and teaches his disciples that you must take up the pain in your life so that you will learn to submit to God. Chapter 4 of The Problem of Pain raises the hardest question presented by pain. What about other people's suffering? Frighteningly enough, the same answer applies. We have to hope that the permanent scars left by pain will be made new by God.
White shores, and beyond the far green country, into a swift sunrise.
But why pain? God is omnipotent. Can't he use some other mechanism other than pain? He could just kill you and send you on a first-class train ticket to hell.
Why not? I'm God.
In his benevolence, he created us with a will to resist him. Everyone has to have pain to endure, so that we learn submission to God. This sentiment is echoed in the lives of C.S. Lewis himself and his wife, Joy Davidman. Lewis spent his early years studying philosophy and becoming as intelligent as possible. He hoped to come upon the knowledge to justify his position as an atheist, but he never found it. Joy Davidman's husband cheated on her, abused her sons, and left her for another woman. It was there in the midst of defeat that Joy encountered Jesus. In Lewis's The Screwtape Letters, Screwtape is a demon who writes to his nephew, who is assigned to tempt a human. Screwtape teaches his nephew that he's more than happy to make a concession with a human who has fled from, say, sexual sin, as long as the human thinks himself the hero.
Look at me! Here I am! Love me.
Pride, the root of all sin. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. You must submit to God. Only in pride can you resist him. Thus, any hope anyone has ever had is desperately in the hands of Jesus.